Welcome back. So for this chapter, we're going to continue texturing in Matplus. We're going to narrow things down and start focusing on the details like adding panel lines, micro textures, and some decals. Remember the time in ZBrush where I mentioned to hold off on the textural detail, right? This is time to add those details back in using Matplus. ZBrush is great when it comes to sculpting details, but once you bake it down to low poly model, those details are gonna get washed away or gonna get a bit crunchy looking. So that's why I saved those details for Matplus, because it's far more clear to do it in this way. Anyways, let me show you how to do it. Alright, so let's continue on with the detailing. So one cool trick I want to show you here, let me just isolate the body. So I'm going to make a paint mask, okay, or paint fill layer, I mean. And then with this fill layer, what I'm gonna do is basically turn off the color. Oh, you know what? Actually, let's turn on the color and make it kind of obnoxious so it's kind of easy to tell. And that's something that I tend to do too, just so that I know that it exists. I give it like some obnoxious color, and then for this one I'm gonna give it a height and then just kind of slightly drop it down. Okay, all right, so with this now I'm going to add a black mask to it and give it a paint effect. Okay, and 4K seems a little too big. You know what, I think 2K is fine. Okay, let's go. All right, so we got the 2K paint effect in here, and then what I'm gonna be calling this, I'm gonna call this nuts bolts. All right, so as you can imagine, that's what I'm gonna be making, nuts and bolts. All right, so to do that, instead of using one of these brush, I'm going to go to their alpha and zoom in and choose brush texture. Okay, so again, Matplus offers all these brushes for you to choose from, so you kind of like scroll down and see which one you kind of want to go with. And I remember seeing, yeah, there's all these kind of like good starting point with these nuts and bolts. So I'm gonna just choose one of these guys. Let's say, let's try this one right here. Okay, let's give this one a shot. Okay, so I have this one selected, and then make sure just select it. So you'll have a library of the selections here, right? So the more you choose, the more that will pop up, so you can just kind of select which one you want. So I'm going to select this nuts and bolt, and then next up, what I'm going to be doing, make sure your nuts and bolts selected, Alt Q to select the face, right? And then I'm going to view it in the frontal view and kind of zoom in, and then just kind of change the brush size, something like this. So the one problem with Blender is that the fact that there's no dynamic scaling. So I could scale it, I could punch the texture here, but in this size, but then once I zoom out, you see the size is a little different, right? Yeah, so that's kind of like one problem you gotta be mindful, which is a bummer, but I know that eventually it's one of those features that eventually will come out. So for now, it just does not exist. All right, so anyway, so just kind of adding these kind of little dots for the detailing, which is kind of nice. And because I added the color, we don't need the color anymore. All right, so yeah, there you go. So with this, that's like a really cool way to just kind of go, yeah, I mean, nuts, like no puns intended, but yeah, like literally you could just stamp in all the nuts and bolts in there, and make sure when you have this selected, and sometimes like when you go out, this will reset, but you gotta click on paint mode to activate these drawings or these stamps. Okay, so you gotta go in. Yeah, it's a bummer that again, like you can't dynamically scale them when you zoom in and zoom out, but yeah, it's something that I just have to deal with for now. Okay, so yeah, again, I can just go crazy with this, right? The detail, and just kind of like stamp it everywhere and anywhere you want. Pretty neat way to add details. Okay, so not just nuts and bolts, but also here's another way to add these micro details. So within this layer again, I'm going to add a paint effect. 2K is fine. All right, so we got nuts and bolts. So this time though, instead of nuts and bolts, this is going to be, let me just rename it, panel. All right, so with that being said, what I'm going to do is go to the brush settings, and this time brush is fine, and I'm going to just choose like something more harder brush like this. And for the stroke method, I'm going to choose this guy right here. Okay, so this is kind of like the shift tab shift in Photoshop kind of deal where I can make straight lines, but let's see, something like right here, right? I'm going to zoom in and change the brush size, and yeah, just kind of like start drawing it in like that. Oh, that's right, Alt Q to select. Okay, so going in, drawing it in the line. A little jaggedy here, so maybe I might have to bump up the resolution actually, maybe even with the nuts and bolts too. So let me restart this again. So I'm gonna go back, add a paint effect, and let's try 4K. Okay, see if that will do any better. So give it a second. So yeah, again, when the more the resolution, the laggier it gets. So that's kind of like the trade-off that I need to be careful. So again, select this brush and make sure this is selected, and then Alt Q to select this model. Oops. So yeah, a lot smoother. I might have to do that with the nuts and bolts here. There you go. So zoom out. So yeah, that's like a nice way to kind of add in these kind of texture. And again, like if you want to change the whole entire thing, you know, like you go back to the mothership, the fill layer, and I'm gonna call this like, I don't know, like micro details, okay? Because that's what it is. And then you could always kind of adjust the height too, right? So kind of like bring it up. So if it's not too much, or bring it down, whichever it may be. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I could just keep going ham and keep working on the detail with this. So another detail I want to add is something like textural on this kind of like cloth-like materials right here. So to do that, I'm going to add a fill layer first. All right, so let that happen. And again, I'm gonna choose something kind of obnoxious color just so that it's more obvious. Okay, red is fine. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to go to black mask once again. Ooh, not black mask actually. I'm going to choose the mask vertex color. Okay, the mask vertex color, and select that, and then choose the eyeball, or no, the dropper, and then choose the color right here, yellow. Okay, so let that load for a bit. All right, we got that. And then again, you could change the value to just kind of like, you know, fill it a little more, or I guess not do too much. So maybe something like that's good. So we got that. Actually, it kind of looks pretty cool with the red. Well, that's not the purpose though. So what I want to do next is, so I want to add like a textural element to this. And to do that, I'm going to have to bring this guy into a group. Okay, so I have this group folder in there. So I'm going to click on this, add group, and then choose group 4. And then I'll call this textural texture 1 because maybe I might add another texture. Okay, so I have that folder, the red color in the folder, and on top of this, what I want to do is add a black mask over it. Okay, and on top of this black mask, what I want to do is add a mask generator. Okay, so we got the generator on top of this folder, and then I'm gonna assign the generator to one of these textures right here. Okay, so I think dots will look nice, so let's add the dots. Okay, so we got that, and you can see kind of it's showing, but the dots, it's a little too big, so I'm gonna have to scale it quite a bit. Let's try like, I don't know, 300-ish. All right, maybe I can bump it up even more, 500. Okay, what about 1,000? 1,000. Okay, that might be nice. Okay, so there we have it. We got this kind of like a dot texture, and then this color is just a placeholder, just so that I could see it. So I'm gonna open the folder, choose the color. This is the dots. I'll just call this dots. Okay, so dots, and then within the work mode, I'm gonna go to color, get rid of the color, and choose height instead. Okay, and then once that loads, I'm gonna give point or negative 0.001 maybe, and boom, kind of gives this nice little dot-like texture, so it's not this boring, just boring flat texture. So yeah, that's like another cool way of adding these kind of fun little textures. So yeah, that's something that I'm probably gonna add around here too. So let's see if I could do that. This might be a different color, but what I could do, let's see, let me just double check. Just open the folder, dots, mask vertex color. Yeah, never mind. Yeah, if I were to apply this, it's gonna apply to all the dark blue, so this I have to manually paint in. Actually, for this part, I want to show you guys another method. So there's a site by Julio Salet, who offers all these great textures, for some of them for free, some of them for sale, and yeah, I mean, these are incredible, like just crazy amount of stuff, right? So I have some downloaded and installed into the allocated folder. So then what I can do is, if I were to go to material, I have them all called NMP whatever, but yeah, let's say I would choose the metal and something like metal knurled. That will give me a nice metal texture. Obviously the coordinates a little too large, so I'm gonna get rid of the color, the metal, the roughness. I'm gonna keep the normal, don't need displacement too. And then on the coordinate, I am going to just kind of bump up the scale like that, right? So yeah, it kind of gives me this nice, cool, almost like, I don't know, like a leathery gun handle type of texture that I could use and go off of. And then this time around, so with this, I'm going to add a black mask. All right, and then with the intelligent mask, not intelligent mask, but add a paint effect. And I think in this case 1K is fine. All right, so I got the 1K paint effect, and just gonna select this brush right here, Alt Q to select the hip, and yeah, literally I could just make sure the symmetry is on. I could just paint in those details, right? So I'm just gonna zoom in. Oops, I could probably increase the brush size. I wish I could see the brush size with this too. I'm sure that's something that will be incorporated later on, but as of now, there isn't that feature, so just gotta wait a little longer for that feature to come. So yeah, there you have it. You have something like this, only on this section right here. maybe same with here too. Just kind of like paint it in manually. Perfect. All right, so we got some textures right there too. If I want, maybe I gotta add some like right here too. Just kind of up to you how you want it to kind of add these textures. But yeah, really easy way to kind of get that different material kind of feeling, right? So yeah, that's what I mean by kind of like dissecting these materials. You could add it and then you could start kind of messing with it to make your own unique materials. So really cool and powerful stuff. Another cool thing I want to show you guys are something like decals. Okay, so to do that, I'm going to add in a fill layer, and then just go to the black mask, and then on the black mask, I'm going to add decal right there. All right, so we get this little plane, and then if I scroll down to the decal setting, so I could just choose the decal that Matplus offers. So these are some of the default ones. So let's just choose something like this. All right, and then you can see the decals just kind of like automatically trying to wrap onto the body. This is a little too weird, so I'm just gonna like move it up to the side, something like that. So it's kind of cool how it's kind of like automatically snaps on the surface. Kind of reminds me of like decal machine. And yeah, just gonna like place it wherever. So that's neat. And then you know, like if you have like I have my own decals, so like what I could also do is just kind of like keep adding more decals to this. So this whole mothership file could be called like decals, and under this you could just have like a bunch of decals, right? And then choose textures, so you know, like custom textures. So I have a few that are just, I don't know, downloaded from other websites. So something like this, maybe I could just add in. There you go, just give it a second. Oh, what the, okay, scale it down. And then just kind of like move it around wherever it fits, right? So just, yeah, with this, the only problem is that I can't work this symmetrically as well. So, you know, like if I want it there, then it's not going to flip, although you don't want to because of the wording on this. You know, like the pros and cons is that, yeah, I mean, you can't work symmetrically. That may be a feature it will come out in the later on, but for as of now you can't. But the pros of this is that you could also apply these kind of like generators and stuff, right? So you could add some wear and tear onto this decal, and kind of utilize all the Matplus features to just kind of like integrate these decals even better. So that is that. So I think I'm just gonna get rid of this one for now. So yeah, just like a cool quick way to add decals. Although if I do want to add a decal that's symmetrical, I could do something like this where I add a fill, right? Okay, and let's see, just give it a sec. I'm gonna give it a kind of like a yellowish color, something like that, maybe kind of like a construction tape type color. Just bump up the color, bump up the value, and then I am going to add a black mask once again. Okay, starting chug, add a paint effect, and for this one, I think 2K should be fine. All right, so something like this. Okay, all right, so I have the paint effect on, and then I'm gonna just choose my paintbrush to this guy again, and maybe something around here. Make sure symmetry is on once again. Alt Q to select this guy. Let's see, so something like right here maybe. I could add, just make sure I have this selected, just change the brush size. Oh, actually the brush does exist. I wonder why it didn't show before. Oh, okay, so not this one. I'm so used to doing the Photoshop way, the shift tab shift, but yeah, this doesn't have it, so I gotta choose something like this. And just boom, apply it. So yeah, you can kind of have like a decal this way, and one other thing to note. So going back to this yellow fill layer, I'll call this yellow decal. Yellow decal, okay. Kind of going back to the material right there. And then I could bump up the height. So add the height. And then just kind of like bring it up just a bit. Oh, that's too much. So it's a little choppy. So maybe I might have to increase it to, I don't know, 4K. 0.02 may be good enough. Or 0.01. Oops, 1. Okay, there you go. So yeah, it kind of gives that almost like a yellow tape type of texture. And then on top of this, what you could also do is add, like, you know, if you want to make it like a metal like tape, then yeah, sure, you could just kind of like apply the metal to this and make it metally as you want. And you could even add roughness to it to make it sort of shiny or glossier, I guess. So just kind of up to you. Yeah, it's like so too glossy, but you know, it kind of also gives that material difference, which is nice. So just for like the obvious sake of it, I'm gonna keep it that way. But yeah, let's just make one more, okay? Like in this frontal view right here, let's say if I want to add like a, I don't know, like a triangle type of thing. So I could just kind of do this. Oh, again, once you have paint effect selected, make sure you go back to the paint mode. And then I have this guy selected here, so Alt Q. This guy brushes a little big. Oops, too small. Okay, so I'm gonna go in. Okay, go back to this brush. Cool. I think it's like adopting some of the textures from the bottom too, so this little choppiness texture. So yeah, just kind of gives that nice little kind of decal manually like this, right? I don't think I like the roughness and the metallicness being this crazy, so I'm just gonna get rid of the roughness and metallicness. Maybe I could just drop it a tad. So yeah, that's just one way of adding a decal manually, symmetrically, so through a paint layer like this, okay? One more thing I want to add is that let's say if you made a material and added all these, like, you know, effects to it to, you know, just customize this really cool material, and you hope to use it again sometimes, right? Or in my case, you know, like I did quite a work on the body, and it would be kind of like a pain to, you know, redo it on this arm area. So minus all the decal stuff and just kind of these nuts and bolts, because, you know, these nuts and bolts texture stuff, they're manually kind of added, right? Manually as in, like, you know, just manually painted in kind of thing. But then something like the base texture, this dark metal and the chrome, that's kind of like more, you know, just procedurally inputted using the ID mask. So something like that, I could transfer all those information onto the arm. And to do that, what I'm gonna do is first, so I know that it's these three. Okay, so the roughness, this is the chrome, the metal chrome that I made, right? So just kind of flipping on and off. And then the dark metal, this is the dark metal that's kind of like there. And then the main body metal, right? So on top of the metal, the chrome metal or the metal rough, I'm going to add a, well, I guess it's just shoot all the way up. Okay, so I'm gonna call this, like, I don't know, new material. Okay, so I'm gonna call that, and then I'm gonna start from bottom to the top, because whatever I add in first is gonna stay in the bottom, and then the more you add, it's gonna kind of stack up. So this one, I'm gonna start off with the main, or as a matter of fact, before I even do that, I want to move this folder down, okay? Because once if all these materials shoots up, then everything's gonna cover all the decals. So I need to bring this material down first. So let's bring it down, down, down. I wish I could just click and drag it, but yeah, this is the only way at the moment. You could just kind of bring it down. Okay, so one more down. All right, so we got the 3. So I'm gonna start off with the main, go to add group, and then throw it into this soul material. And next up, this dark material. Add group. All right. And then the last, add group once again. All right, cool. So we got these 3 base materials in here, right? And then what I'm gonna do is create a smart material, my own custom smart material based off these three materials. And to do that, I'm gonna click on this little icon right here. So I'm gonna click on this, and that's gonna you gotta wait just a bit, okay? So I'm gonna click. So just give it a bit. All right, so that did it. So now what I want to do is go to the hand, and then just go to the smart material. All right, just give it a second for it to load, and then just on the search, type in what you made, and there you have it, the material that I made. Okay, so if I click on this guy, that should apply the exact folder that I just created. Okay, so just give that a second, and boom, there you have it. So we have the same exact texture of the body onto the arm. A really cool way. And then you could see it's the folder, right? It's same exact thing. And yeah, like from here on, I just kind of continue on the same thing, just add a, just fill or whatever, and just keep continuing on, right? So yeah, let me just do a quick one right here. Add the vertex mask, finger maybe. So yeah, pretty much the same method at this point, and just keep continuing on with the body versus the hand. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it here. Oh, one thing to know with this head part, so I have this paint effect selected for the lights and the symmetry is on, and then also Alt Q onto this, right? But then it only seems like it's working on just one side, and then the symmetry, I guess it does show, but then it's kind of acting funky like on the other side right here, right? So that is because if I go to Control Z this, go to model view, and then look at this, the symmetry is based off the origin right here. So let's fix that for everything. So I'm gonna select everything, or actually hold up, let me turn on the organic too. Okay, I'm gonna go to model. Okay, select everything, and then object, set origin to geometry, and more or less everything should be pretty much centered except maybe the fingers. So now the symmetry should work perfectly for all of them. Okay, so kind of going back to this head again, make sure paint effect is selected, paint mode is turned on. Then if I were to paint it in, Alt Q, select the head. There you go. Yep. So now the symmetry is working.